Welcome to 245 episodes of Let Us Interrupt You here on Monday, December 4th, 2023. I'm Joseph Alvo, and I want to make a correction from last Saturday. It was 244, not 243. I just realized I did. As soon as I got done with the show and I had to, put it in there, I saw 243. I'm like, did I do two parts of an episode? Like, no. Friday was 243, and then Saturday was 244. So, a lot of craziness. I was able to manage to review all the bowl games from college football on Saturday, all the championship games, I should say, all the bowl games. Well, I'll be all over the place. But anyway, with this podcast, really a lot of, before I get into start NFL reviewing, this actually came out right now a few days ago. According to JPA Football, Kellen Moore, the current offensive coordinator for the LA Chargers, are expected to have the real shot at the Panthers head coaching job. And I kind of look at it like this. Kellen Moore might be able to fix Bryce Young. I mean, it may not even be over for this kid. I mean, I say that in the most sincere way possible. But I think realistically, I call it like I see it here when it comes to Bryce Young. I'm not sure what Bryce Young has left at this point with whatever the Panthers are going to give him at this point. I mean, given what's happening right now with the Panthers, they're 1-11 now. They lost yesterday to Tampa Bay. Kellen Moore would be a good move. Ben Johnson would be a good move at this point. He's also in the mix as well. Joe Burrow is, while being out for the rest of the year, is sitting on defensive meetings to understand how NFL defense will try to stop him in the future. Tom Brady did that when he had a torn ACL back in 2008. So Burrow is basically copying Tom Brady. And I give him props for it. I really do. You don't really hear that very oftenly. You're not going to hear me give Tom Brady a lot of credit here where credit is due. But, or I'm sorry, giving Joe Burrow a lot of credit to be the next Tom Brady. But in this case here, yeah, that's pretty neat stuff. We had some trending stuff, and this was after I got off the podcast on Saturday night. The 49ers linebacker Fred Warner wished the team didn't talk trash after their loss in the NFC title game last year. Well, in this case here, Philadelphia was talking trash and San Francisco was talking trash, and it turned out to be a big nightmare for Philadelphia. I'll get more into that reviewing-wise momentarily here. We'll get you the scores and everything else. I'll start off with this game right here, which was probably one of the worst games of the entire weekend, hands down. It was the LA Chargers taking on the New England Patriots. Mac Jones was benched for Bailey Zappi. And there's only two field goals that were made in this game. It was Dicker. It was Cameron Dicker who made two 38-yard field goals. There was one key drive where the Patriots fumbled the ball in the end. It was from Ramon Stevenson who then got knocked out of the game. Lost a yard. Lost the ball. Football was recovered by the Chargers, and it led to a punt. Let me give you the stat line from this game and how this game pretty much started. You want to get the stat line? Punt, punt, fumble, punt, 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 field goal, punt, 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 field goal, end a half, punt, punt, and by that's an 11-play punt, by the way, by both the Patriots and the Chargers. Punt, punt, downs, punt, downs, end the game. That's your stat line right there. That's all you need to know that happened in this game. Kind of pathetic, if you ask me. Zappi was 13 for 23, 141 yards. He's a good backup quarterback starter, but he's not, as far as I know, on this Patriot team, they need a veteran backup starter. I'm sorry. I mean, this is the best effort they come up with here for Bailey Zappi here. And the offensive line just quit. I mean, they allowed 5 sacks in the game. He was averaging 5.6 yards per pass play, Zappi was. Elliott did most of the work. He had 17 carries for 52 yards. He had 4 catches for 40 yards. He touched the ball 21 times on scrimmage plays, 21 scrimmage plays for Ezekiel Elliott in this game. Devontae Parker had 4 catches for 64 yards. Hunter Henry had 2 catches for 15 yards. Zappi just targeted Devontae Parker a hell of a lot more than he targeted anybody else. Jalen Reagor had 1 catch for 11 yards. Juju Smith-Schuster had 1 catch for 11 yards. Tyquan Thornton was targeted once. That was it. Ran the wrong route. What a shock there. The team had 2 fumbles overall. Elliott fumbled once. Somebody was able to recover the fumble for him. I don't know who it was that recovered it. Vermont Stevenson fumbled it and lost it, which was the only key thing that happened in this game. And the defense they really couldn't do much. They really did the best that they possibly could to help the Patriots win this game. The offense quit. It's that simple. I think Zappe quit really on Bill O'Brien more than anything else. I think the offensive line quit on the whole ownership. And this is the second time in 8 weeks that you've been shut out at home. I don't know what else to say about this really other than as a Patriot fan, it makes me sick to my stomach now that this is what I got to sit through now at this point. And for a guy who's been trying so hard to support Bill Belichick after Brady left, maybe Bill Belichick will find the next Tom Brady. That was my thought process. And really, if you think about it, he checked out. I think he's so mentally broken by the fact that Tom Brady would not retire, leave, go play for a different franchise, win a Super Bowl with a different franchise, being the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of all franchises to win it with, that he just stopped caring. Look what he did. He brought in Cam Newton, the guy that really – this is where it's bad, where you got a quarterback that went that year 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 12 fumble losses. He had 23 turnovers as a member of the New England Patriots, and they went 7-9 despite that. 7-9. They bring in Mac Jones, where the guy had about what? 16 different ways to turn the ball over, and they went 10-7 that year. Waited in a wild card in the playoffs, lost by 30. Let me put it to you this way. Bill Belichick built something that wanted to get him the hell out of New England. That's what happened. He figured, you know what? It ain't working. Let's just call it. I know Robert don't want me here. I really don't want to be here. Let's see if he fires me because he's going to owe me a lot more money if I leave than me staying here. Because deep down, that's what it really comes down to. That's what it comes down to. I don't think Bill really wants to be here anymore. I don't think Bill really cares about the season. I think he's hurting his legacy at the same time by doing what he's doing. But he figured, you know what? I'm not really hurting my legacy. But if I succeed somewhere else, my legacy can grow 10 times more than it's ever been. And we'll see if it happens that way. I don't know if anyone's going to want a 70-year-old guy who's willing to go 2-15 and go down with a sinking ship here. It's hurting the guy's legacy if it already hasn't already. Everything he has said since the start of the year has tarnished his way of thinking, of him being taken seriously as a GM, his people being taken seriously for any job consideration after this. It's just sad. It's just sad. When you look at this team, it's so pitiful. I don't even think Trent Brown really cares how the season goes. Michael Onwenu, David Andrews, I don't think they care anymore. They're historically bad. They've only scored 148 points this year, which is worse than they've ever had scored in franchise history. They haven't been this bad since 1992 when they went 1-15. 1-15. They're about to go 2-15 if this keeps up. They're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers Thursday night without Kenny Pickett. They have Mitchell Trubisky in there, which Pickett had the tightrope high ankle sprain surgery at this point, so he wants to get back in there and play another game. But I don't know if their season is worth saving because they're not that good anyway. And they're not. I mean, I've seen a lot better Pittsburgh Steelers defenses with Cordell Stewart at quarterback with one of the worst quarterback plays. And really, what I've seen better teams with Tommy Maddox that are better than this Pittsburgh Steelers team right now is personally. So that's just my opinion. I don't know how anyone else felt about this game, but this game was terrible. Falcons beat the Jets 13-8. Actually, before I even get back, let me just stick back at the Chargers. And I didn't even give you all the stats here from Herbert here. He was 22 for 37, 212 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. Austin Eckler, 14 carries for 18 yards. Keenan Allen had 5 catches for 58 yards in the game. They didn't sack Herbert once in this game. And they held the team to 24 running plays on 29 yards. That's the best the Patriots defense shows up in every game. It's not the defense. It's their offense. Their offense sucks. Anyway, that's what I was before. Now I'm going to move forward now to the Falcons and Jets game. And this was an ugly game. I'll go with a capital U. Tim Boyle, 14 for 25, 148 yards, 5.9 yards per average. They pulled him. They put Trevor Siemian in the game. He was no better. He was 5 for 13 for 66 yards. They got sacked combined 4 times in the game. Dalvin Cook had 9 carries for 35 yards. Breece Hall had 13 carries for 16 yards. They only averaged about, if you had to combine, at least 5 yards on average from the both of them. The rest of the team is just pathetic. Garrett Wilson had 3 catches for 50 yards. Gibson had 5 catches for 77. Conklin had 3 catches for 35. Breece Hall had 6 catches for 29 yards. Bad game. Ritter was no better. He was 12 for 27, 121 yards, a touchdown, no pick. This game really, from the start, I mean, it was just a bad running play by Bijan Robinson deep in their own territory. And then it was a 20-yard touchdown pass to Marcus Pruitt from Desmond Ritter on a 6-play, 47-yard drive. Then a field goal, then a couple more field goals. And that was really about it. Because the rest of these drives, and they're not pretty. I'll give you the stat line for first quarter of this one. Punt, 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 safety. And the first play was Ritter running up for a yard. Now, I don't know why they couldn't just hand it out to Robinson straight up the middle there when they had 2 yards to do it. But that was dumb. That's a punt at that point for the Jets. First play of the second quarter in this one here, Dalvin Cook runs up the middle. He gets stripped from behind by Landman, and Alford recovered it at the Jet 47-yard line. So that was interesting. It led to that touchdown drive, which was Aguilar running it for 4, Aguilar running for another 6 yards, and then Ritter throwing it for 30 yards to Kyle Pitts, and then 2 plays there, the touchdown for 20 yards down, made 7-2. Then the Jets had a long drive. Boyle had a 4-yard handoff to Breece Hall, a 10-yard pass to Garrett Wilson, a 36-yard pass to Xavier Gibson, and a 5-yard pass to Conklin, which led to the field goal there because they couldn't get the first down. It was a 12-play, 66-yard drive. Then the Falcons get the field goal. And then basically, this pretty much ended here. Boyle drops back to pass, looking for Garrett Wilson. It's picked up by Jesse Bates, his second pick of the year. Falcons get the win 13-8. I figured this was going to be a Falcon win. I didn't think the Jets were going to beat the Falcons. I thought this game would be a little bit more of a blowout here in Atlanta's favor here. They just didn't play great. Desmond Ritter got his job back, but I don't see the point of giving it back to him because he sucks. Give Taylor Heinicke a chance. He was not that bad. And if you want to tell me he lost a job because he lost to Joshua Dobbs, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Your play calling was the reason why you lost that job. If you're going to go by the fact that's why they didn't want Heinicke in there in the first place, and they put Ritter and they just basically bench Ritter to teach him a lesson because he pissed off Arthur Smith too much. Even if the Falcons make the playoffs there, let's say they win a division, they're 1 and done. I think they fire in a head coach regardless. Mentioned before, and Tampa Bay beat the Carolina Panthers 21-18. Mike Evans got his 10th straight season with 1,000 yards receiving. So congrats to him. He had 7 catches in this game for 162 yards and a touchdown. You had really a 75-yard touchdown bomb that really just put this game out of reach, and then a 19-yard running play by Godwin and put this game out of reach to 21-10. Mayfield was okay in this game, 14 for 29, a touchdown and a pick. Not much else to tell here. Just a lot of struggling, I think, with finding passes that were perfect. Threw too many incomplete passes. Accuracy was not that great. Bryce Young, 15 for 31, 178 yards. Not bad for him. Although I don't like the fact he threw the ball 31 times and only got 178 yards out of it. That's just the moral of the story. And not all the best defensive players were in there. Devin White was out. Levante David was out. A lot of banged up Buccaneer defensive players, and they somehow managed to get themselves sacked 5 times. I just rolled my eyes at that one. Hubbard had 2 rushing touchdowns, but 25 carries for 104 yards. Sanders had 8 carries for 23 yards. That was the moral of the story. I mean, there's going to be out there for a while cutting down the trees there. I apologize. Anyway, so I just realized, oh, yeah, that's in the background. I did not want that to be in the background. But anyway, deal with it. I got a little box behind me. The LA Rams beat the Browns 36-19. Joe Flacco made his Cleveland Brown debut. Did pretty solid, I mean, for himself. Threw a 24-yard play to Jerome Ford. Nice big drive down the field, 9 plays, 75 yards, connected passes with Amari Cooper. Had a 22-yard play to Amari Cooper, had a 13-yard play to Ford, and then all of a sudden a 24-yard touchdown pass a couple plays later. Overall, it was a good game. There was no, I don't believe Myles Garrett even played in this game defensively because his name never really came up at all. Zadarius Smith played. I don't know if Myles Garrett I know was in a sling. I don't know if he's out for the year or what his story may be at this point, but I didn't hear any timeline of how long he's gonna be out for with the injury with the bruised arm. I don't believe it's broken. I don't believe. I'm not 100% certain on that one. But anyway, he did not play in that game with the injury. Anyway, back to what I was saying beforehand. The Rams had a nice drive, a 70-yard bomb from Stafford to Nacua that put the Rams up 10-7. And then the Browns had to punt the ball away. The Rams had a drive going down the field. You had Stafford trying to throw it to Atwell. Emerson's call for defensive pass interference. Stafford threw a 3-yard play to Nacua. They comes up like well short. Then Harbison missed a 43-yarder that was wide right. So that was no good. So still game is now 10-7. Second quarter. The Browns get on the board with a field goal at this point. This is Flacco again to Elijah Moore. 42 yards down the field. They're in Ram territory. Nice throw by Flacco. Then before he gets a 10-yard run for a first down. And then Flacco trying to go to Elijah Moore a few plays later, and it's an incomplete pass. Hawkins connected on a 42-yard field goal. The game is tied at 10 apiece. Now the Rams get the ball right back. Stafford on 3rd and 2 to Higbee for 14 yards. 6 yards to Skoronski. Matthew Stafford throws a play to Cooper Kupp. He runs out of bounds, gets to the 20. They're in the red zone. A few plays later, Kyren Williams trying to get a running play, but stuffed. And that sets up for a Ram field goal there at end of half. They're 13-10 Rams. Then this is where the party really started to begin here. So the Browns had to kick a field goal there. But let me get to what the Browns had to do here. So Flacco had a pass to Harrison Bryant. That's 9 yards. A few plays later, 9 yards again to Ngochu. That's a 4-yard run. Then Flacco tries to throw a pass to Elijah Moore. There's a penalty on Tillman for illegal formation. Next play, Flacco to Elijah Moore again, 22 yards. And Flacco missed on incomplete passes right there. That set up the field goal right there for the Browns. I'm surprised that they didn't try to go in the end zone. They're trying to go for it 4th down. That really could have, taken them right back with the advantage there, because at that point the Rams just ran away with it. Stafford had a 9-yard play to Kupp. Williams ran it for 10 yards. Then Nacua gets a sweep play here. He runs about 31 yards. He gets a first down at the Browns 30. A few plays later, Stafford to Demarcus Robinson. He makes the grab there. That's for 30 yards there. They're inside the red zone at the 10-yard line. That leads to Stafford again to Robinson, 7 yards. It's 20-13. That's a 7-play, 75-yard drive. Now the Browns respond. See what the Browns do here. 8 yards to Elijah Moore from Flacco. A couple plays later, a 5-yard play to Harrison Bryant. Then 31, it was Hunt that ran up for 6. Then Pierre Strong runs it for 13 yards. And then and then Flacco throws it to Harrison Bryant for 8 yards. That's a touchdown. It's 20-19. They missed the extra point, which made it 20-19 Rams. And then Flacco tries to go for Elijah Moore again. He gets picked off. He runs that back for 42 yards. They're at the Cleveland 24-yard line. That sets up a Rams for a touchdown, which right here it's Stafford to Cooper Kupp again. He gets in for 3 yards. That's a touchdown there. It's 27-19. And then this really pretty much put it away here. Kyren Williams runs it up for 1 yard there. It's 34-19. And then Flacco gets sacked in the end zone by Aaron Donald. That's a safety there. It was Aaron Donald and I want to say it was Turner who got the sack there. Rams get the win there, 36-19. They are now 6-6 on the year. And the Rams did a pretty good thing. Their defense showed up and played in this game. I'm not sure what else to say about this game, really, other than the fact the Rams right now delivered a strong message. You know, against a Cleveland Brown defense like that was #1 all year, they showed no fear. Stafford went 22 for 37, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns. This is the best that any defense has done this grade against this Cleveland Brown team all year. To put up 36 points like that by yourself, I mean, you know, as an offense, really, it really set the tone throughout the game. I mean, Kyren Williams went at 21 carries for 88 yards. They ran for 120 yards on the ground, 25 carries. Nacua had 4 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown. DeMarcus Rose had 4 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp had 6 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown. The fact that he had 6 catches and you hold this guy to 39 yards at this point, that's the only bright thing Cleveland did all in this game. Would only allow 39 yards receiving from Cooper Kupp. So otherwise, they tried too hard in this game defensively to try to man down a one wide receiver. Flacco in his return, 23 for 44, 254, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Not bad from him. Elijah Moore is his favorite target, 4 catches for 83 yards. Not enough spreading around the ball. Cooper only had 3 catches for 34 yards. Really, the target should be equal here. I don't think Elijah Moore ever thought this year that he'd be treated like a #1 guy with Flacco around, but I think that's the only guy he really trusts in that team. But I don't know. There's just a lot of things that they did wrong in this game. But yeah, the Rams get the win 36-19. The Lions beat the Saints. They got a big one here. This game started out from the their own 20-yard line. 3rd and 7 here from Montgomery. He runs at 9 yards, gets a first down. Nice big run by Montgomery. And then Goff trying to throws it to Jameson Williams. He gets 11 yards for a first down. Penalties on New Orleans for pass interference. That was declined. And a roughing the passer, which was enforced. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, he runs it for 36 yards. He gets taken out at the Saints' 2-yard line. Then Montgomery runs it from 2 yards out there. 7 plays, 80 yards for Detroit. First possession for Derek Carr. He gets picked off by the rookie Branch out of Alabama. That's returned for 13 yards. That's down to the Saints 17. And then the setup here is Goff to Laporta, 13 yards out there. 14-0 Lions. They take the lead here. Saints at the Lions get the ball back at the punt. Then Goff again. Sets up for Amar St. Brown. He gets it in there, 25 yards for a touchdown. 21-0 Detroit. 3 plays, 54 yards in that one. Then the Saints answer with a little drive of their own right now. That took up right here. But Derek Carr here, this is the signature hit play. It was A.T. Perry, 30 yards. He gets it down to the Detroit 34-yard line. A few plays later, Derek Carr again looking Chris Olave, and he gets pushed out at the Lions' 9-yard line. That's a 24-yard play. And that's Derek Carr throwing it to Jimmy Graham, his first touchdown reception of the year as a New Orleans Saint, 21-7. 13 plays, 84 yards, 6 minutes, 39 seconds for Derek Carr and the Saints. Now the Lions get the ball back here. Laporta gets 11-yard reception on 2nd and 16. That gets him close enough for a first down. Then they go right back to Laporta for 14 yards, short down the middle. A few plays later, Goff to St. Brown again. 24 yards down to the New Orleans Saints 24-yard line. Then a few plays later, Goff trying to go for Donovan Peoples-Jones in the end zone. That's incomplete. And that sets up for a field goal there. 24-7 at the end of the half. Lions drove it down the field, 12 plays, 62 yards in 5 minutes and 16 seconds. Then the Saints get the ball right back to start the second half here. Derek Carr to Alvin Kamara for 12 yards there. McNeil was injured in the play, was able to come back in the game later on. Carr threw it to Taysom Hill for 18 yards there. That's good enough for a first down. A few plays later, Chris Olave, deep pass to Derek Carr. This was an amazing grab rate. As soon as he turned around, the ball was right in his hands. He's down the Lions 2-yard line. That's Alvin Kamara to get in the end zone there. That for a touchdown there. 10 plays, 75 yards, just around 5 minutes there. Saints get the ball right back, and Alvin Kamara gets in the end. Broke the play at first, but was called down at the 1. And then Taysom Hill ran in himself. That was after a Carr pass to Foster Monroe, and then Carr throwing a pass to Olive. They set up a drive there. 7 plays, 62 yards, 24-21. Lions kick a field goal there. Here's where the game was already over at that point. So Carr loses the snap here. It's fumbled. It's recovered by the Lions. That was the best part here. 2 plays later, Jameson Williams, the second-year man out of Alabama, he runs it in there 19 yards. He just dives in the end zone. He's all fired up. Lions are up 33-21. Last chance for the Saints. Winston's in there now because Carr gets injured. He lands on his shoulder after being hit so hard. They call it roughing the passer on the Lions. And then right here with a 30-yard play from Winston to Chris Olave. And Taysom Hill again runs it in there. Was trying to get it in there. He was stuck at the 1. Then Alvin Kamara, he rushes in there at the 1 yard, rushes in there himself for his second rushing touchdown of the game. And the Saints trying to get the ball back, on an onside. I don't think they didn't do a good job, or they kicked it off of them. Sorry, not an onside kick. What am I thinking? Lions had a punt there. Saints trying to go for it on a 4th down. Winston trying to go for Chris Olave again. That's incomplete. They turn over on downs. The Detroit Lions are now 9-3. They still lead the NFC North at this point with a 33-28 win. This was an excellent game. Jared Goff just came out like on a mission. Granted, not big numbers. He was 16 for 25, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was only sacked once in the entire game. But Laporte was the story here. 9 catches for 140 yards. Amara St. Brown had 49 yards receiving. Those are the only 2 guys that really showed up and played in this game. Everyone else was falling asleep behind the wheel. It was mainly because of that turnover, too, that set up adding up the points there, touchdown. Of course, Detroit was able to cover there. They won by 5. Derek Carr, before he got injured, was 17 for 22, 226 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara combined, really, if you think about it, really to get about 111 or 110 yards, I want to say, for 3 rushing TDs in this game. 36 to 113 yards on the ground. Oliva had 5 catches for 119 yards, no touchdowns. Alvin Kamara had 6 catches for 58 yards, no touchdowns receiving. Jimmy Graham only had the 1 target in the game with 1 catch for 6 yards. I don't know if he's not part of the starting rotation now at this point. I mean, I know they have Foster Monroe in there a lot, but if they have Graham in there a lot more, I feel like at this point, like the Saints would be a little bit more successful, I think, with the tight end game. You got a guy that can block, you got a guy that can be receiving. Now they just got a guy that wants to do both. I just don't get the logic at that point. The reason why you have 2 tight ends. Anyway, Broncos are at the Houston Texans. This was an unbelievable game. Tank Dell got injured on a key play. It was a block right now. It was setting up for the touchdown drive there. He cracked his fibula. He's done for the year. Would not return in the game. That was how about the Pierce 3-yard run. And then it was Russell Wilson throwing it the deep left to Cortland Sutton. Nice turnaround here, having both feet in bounds. 45 yards. That's a touchdown there. 16-10. Then Stroud answers with a nice little short drive out there. Russell Wilson interception. That set up Nico Collins for a 3-yard touchdown play there. They failed a 2-point conversion. Wilson runs it himself. He gets it in the end zone there. Last chance. Wilson trying to throw it in the end zone. It's picked off. Houston Texans get the win, 22-17. And right now at this point, the way I look at the standings at this point, as far as the playoff goes, let's call what I see here. If it wasn't for the fact they lost to Indy early in the year, Houston right now would be a 7th seed right now, behind Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Technically, they'd be ahead of Pittsburgh anyway. technically. I mean, if we're going to go by the stats here, I mean, let's be realistic here about the whole thing. 5-2 at home, 2-3 on the road, 1-2 against their division, 4-3 against the conference. That's really the only reason why the Texans aren't really in it right now, is their conference record now is only like a half a game back of Indy, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland combined. All three teams have a 5-3 conference record. But I think Houston's got a much better offensive skill. I think they do. They have a much better defense than the Colts do, a much better defense right now than the Cleveland Browns do right now at this point. Without Myles Garrett, which nobody knows the timetable on his return, that kind of hurts Cleveland Browns' chances of a deep playoff run. It kind of does. And honestly, at this point, they're playing Jacksonville next weekend without Myles Garrett. I don't see Jacksonville losing that game. I really don't. It kind of shows without him around, his presence does not help that defense out one iota. The fear factor is completely gone from that defensive side of the ball. And without his presence, they're easily exposed. So think of it that way. They have the Bears coming to town right after that as well. So, I mean, and they're going right to Houston. That's a tough one to swallow. Because right now, in order for them to survive this, they have to win all this out. But without Myles Garrett, I don't know if they can. But Houston, I think, realistically played pretty good in this game. Very limited what Stroud did in this game. Without Tank Dell, the high-flying ability of that offense just kind of sunk a little bit. Nico Collins carried them for most of the way. He had 274 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no picks. For Wilson, he was 15 for 26, 186 yards, 1 touchdown. He was picked up 3 times in this game. And think about that one. When you're picked up 3 times in this game, Singletary Jr. got 2 picks on him, and then Warren got the pick on him late in the game. It just, that secondary has got your number at that point. But Stroud played pretty good in this game. He was sacked 5 times in the game, but it didn't really matter. Mills was in there at one point, but I think it was in there to help out with Stroud on a certain play. I think it was banged up that he was able to come back in the game. But, man, Nico Collins, 9 catches for 191 yards and a touchdown. This guy's a difference maker. If it wasn't for this guy, I mean, I don't know if Stroud would have trusted any of these guys, really. But this became an interesting game. It really did. We go from interesting to boring. And with 2 weather delays, it ended up being a disaster of a day. The Arizona Cardinals upset the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. They got a 24-10 win over the Steelers in Acrisure Stadium. Not much else to tell about this game, really. There's a pair of field goals. Kyle Murray threw a touchdown pass to Trey McBride for 5 yards out there. Connor ran out for 1 yard. Connor ran out for 9 yards after that one. Then Trubisky was in there on a 10-play, 70-yard touchdown drive that was set by Trubisky there, but to Johnson. That was really about it. And by that point, the game was already over at that point. They had no energy left. You got a Pittsburgh Steelers team with Minkah Fitzpatrick playing with a broken hand, got injured groins. A lot of injuries in that Pittsburgh Steelers secondary, and their defense overall. I mean, it was not a good game. Trubisky had a fumble loss. He had a bad exchange with the center as well. Just a lot of players hurt. I mean, that's really how you look at it. T.J. Watt got half a sack in this game, a few tackles. Alex Heisman got a 1 sack and a half. 2 sacks overall in this game. They're allowed by Arizona in this game. Pittsburgh just had nightmares a game. No sacks really by Trubisky, which I'm surprised that Trubisky didn't get sacked in that fumble exchange, but whatever. Because technically he fumbled it twice in that possession. Trubisky was 11 for 17, 117 yards and a touchdown. Pickett was 7 for 10 for 70 yards. Pickett might be coming back soon. We're not sure really when. It could be the last week of the year, but Pittsburgh's all done. I mean, if they're banged up now at this point, their playoff hopes are dead as well. They pretty much are. Let's see. We got a couple more 1 o'clock games here. We got to go over here quickly here. Colts and the Titans here. They had a hell of a game going on today in Tennessee. How their first drive started out, first quarter. Levis throwing it to Chris Okonoa, deep pass. That goes for 39 yards here. That's a first down. A couple plays later, Derrick Henry, he gets a little shimmy to the left side right now. He runs it for 22 yards. He's in the end zone there. Titans are up 7-0. 4-play, 64-yard drive. Then the Colts respond right back with a 36-yard pass to Alec Pierce. He gets in the end zone there. Nice answer there. Titans game up at 7 apiece there. This was a wild game here. Titans, the next possession had the Colts punt and the Titans punted. They the Titans get the ball. Levis is sacked. Ball comes out. It's recovered by Blackman. And the Colts get the ball right back there, so not much else to tell there. I think it was recovered, and the Colts didn't respond with it, but the Titans did have a field goal. Hold on one second. Got my mom texting right in the middle of my podcast. Right in the middle of my show, I gotta get a disrupting message. Anyway, Titans kick a field goal. It's 10-7. Second quarter, touchdown drive. Will Levis threw a deep pass to DeAndre Hopkins. He's pushed out of bounds at the 41. Derrick Henry runs up the middle there for 2 yards. Spears runs it up for 9 yards there. Derrick Henry runs it up for 7. Then Levis throws a deep pass down the middle to DeAndre Hopkins. And that sets up Derrick Henry again for 5 yards out there. 17-7. 8 plays, 77 yards there. Colts kick a field goal there. Makes it 17-10. Then the Colts get the ball. They're driving. Minshew is sacked. Audrey forces a fumble there, and Mulder recovers it. Titans have the ball right back right now. They stop the Colts from scoring there on a 10-play, 80-yard drive. Then this is a wild one here. Here's the block punt here. Stonehouse gets the ball blocked. It's returned from 18 yards out from the Indy special teams for a touchdown there. It's Stroud with a play. Then it leads to a 2-point conversion failure there, which would return for about 99 yards. Then the Colts kick a field goal there. Then a touchdown again by the Titans here. Let's get fast forward to that. Levis throws a pass to Nick Westbrook-Ikhine for 28 yards. Then Levis gets down in the red zone here. Levis throws a pass to Spears. A couple plays later, Levis throws a 3 yards to DeAndre Hopkins. He gets in the end zone there. The game is tied at 25 apiece. And then the Titans and Colts had a punt back and forth right there. That sets up an overtime drive. Levis gets sacked after Spears gets a 19-yard run. Then a couple of penalties by the Titans for offensive holding, then defensive pass interference later on there. Then another defensive pass interference is called, or offside was called, excuse me, not pass interference. And then Levis throws Okunara in there for a first down, and then they just couldn't get anything going there. Well, Levis is trying to throw a deep right pass to Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. That's incomplete. That sets up a field goal there. Then the Colts drive down the field. 9 yards to Pittman, 3 yards to Moss there. Then a 55-yard bomb to Alec Pierce. Then a couple plays later, he throws it right to Michael Pittman again. Colts get to win 31-28. This was a wild game in overtime in Nashville. I mean, this was absolutely wild. Anyway, but that was a wild game. I mean, the way Minshew won that game, the sequence of that right there, the 55-yard bomb to Pierce, and then the 4-yard play to Michael Pittman Jr., it's unbelievable. It really is. What a throw. What a throw, though. It really was a good throw. Anyway, so anyway, let's go to the Dolphins and Commanders game. Dolphins, just this game was great to watch as well. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second here, guys. I gotta make this call real quick. in 2804-7001. That's your. I put in this cash. I had cash out when I gave it to them. I don't know what to tell you. I really went to the bank. No, I put in the. I had cash. How's it not in your bank account? I literally put it in there as cash. I don't know. Well, why is that in your account? Why don't you find out? I put the money in the account. I had the cash on me, and I told the guy to put it. Then give me your fucking car when you fucking get home. I did it today. It's not my fault that your fucking bank doesn't give a shit about your fucking phone bill. This is bullshit.